it's got so many applications. Like obviously we're talking about tool control, but I mean, you could put it in your kitchen. You could have your knives and stuff in there and all your silverware. I mean,
Yeah.
any kind of organization, kitting. We've done a lot of that with manufacturers where they're putting stuff together on the shop floor and they want to have all the parts in the right place. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, really, it's kind of once you see it, your wheels start turning. It's like, where else can this be applied?
Welcome to Manufacturing Insiders. Today I have Nick Kaiser with me today. Nick and I met at FabTech about a month or so ago here, and I was really fascinated with this company that they built, Kaiser Manufacturing, and they have this product called Shadow Foam, which is just a really innovative way that manufacturers and hobbyists and just a whole range of different people can organize stuff. And I know that shop organization, tool organization is a pain point in most places. And so I'm really excited to kind of pick Nick's brain today about, what are the use cases, how are companies really benefiting from using their Shadow Foam product and how they successfully built this company up from nothing. So welcome to Manufacturing Insiders, Nick.
Hey, Nate, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah. So start with, so you're originally kind of a web marketing guy, and then one day you decided that with you and your father that you were going to start this business. How did that all come about?
That's correct. So, like you said, I have a background in web and multimedia, but I'd also been around the manufacturing industry pretty much my entire life. My dad's been in the industry since the early 80s, and his father before him. So I'm a third generation manufacturer. My grandfather started a company over in Switzerland that they brought to the United States in 1990. It was a Kaiser KBT high precision tooling.
Okay.
And so that's kind of where I kind of have my manufacturing background. And when my dad left the company that he was at, this was in 2019 or 2020, we decided that we were going to start something together. He saw a need in manufacturing for tool organization and had seen some other companies in Europe doing this and was like, I don't think this is happening as much in the US. And it's something that he thought it was a good place we could, a market that we could serve. He wanted to do something else in the machine tool world. And that's kind of how we started this up.
Gotcha. And when you were seeing this implemented in Europe, was it sort of like those manufacturing philosophies? Was it kind of driven by those sorts of things, or is it just like for example, the Kaizen idea, the lean, all that sort of stuff? Is that companies that do that have this sort of a thing?
Absolutely. I mean, just in the vein of 5S and 6S and just really keeping shops organized, keeping sensitive tools protected. If you think about like gauges and calipers and things that need to really stay in tolerance, stuff in the QC area, that's really where, I think this product is a great fit. Just protecting your tools also for like transport cases and stuff. That's what we do a lot of too.
Right.
That's kind of where, again, we just saw a need in manufacturing. That was the world that myself and my father and even our GM, Dana, who's our third partner in this, we all just saw, hey, this is like important to have in the shop. And we really could fill that need.
Right. Yeah. And I just learned this term the other day, returnable dunnage. Are you familiar with that term?
Yeah, that's something we also, our product is good for as well, kind of reusable packaging. Because I think a lot of times when people think about foam, they think about the really squishy stuff. You buy a new product and you're unboxing like a TV or something, right? Maybe it's got that like open cell kind of cushy foam.
Yeah.
What we're using is way more dense than that. And so it's also closed cell, so it's not going to absorb any moisture or, coolants, oils and stuff. So if you're like shipping tools around, maybe like test bars or something for field applications, or even just like raw parts going back and forth between fabrication and finishing, it's a great material for that. And especially like, you talk about with that dunnage, if you are an OEM and you have like the CAD files to those parts, you can send us literally the silhouette of that and we can be cutting those precise shapes out. So it really, say it's like a like a turbine, fan blade assembly, something where it's just really weird. It's not just going to be a circle. Like we can really precisely cut the foam to nestle those parts and keep them safe in transit.
Very cool. Have you ever thought about this? Just occurred to me. So I would imagine that whether it be mechanics or whether it be manufacturers, they would go out and purchase a line of a product. Like for example, if you buy a ratchet set, you're going to get your 10 millimeter, your 9 millimeter, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
But if you have a large number of people buying this product set, you could almost market. You would already have purchased one and made up the foam inserts to fit them all perfectly, and then you would sell that as a product itself. Does that make sense?
sure. Yeah, and there are companies that are selling their entire tooling catalog. Like I know Snap-on. Well, if you buy brand new Snap-on tools, you can get some nice foam inserts that those come with. But what the need that we saw was people want, they have a custom mix of tools, right? They have maybe a mix of, like I said, Snap-on, who else? Just, all kinds of different hand tools, even old stuff, things that aren't being made anymore. And, you
Yep.
open up any shop drawer, you know how disorganized things can get like that. And so we wanted to kind of stay in the vein of like, this is custom. This is totally what your shop has. You don't have to go out and buy new things. And that's
Right.
kind of where we started with the 3D scanning. And that's the way that we're capturing tooling profiles.
Yep.
We also have a newer app that we're calling PhotoScan that is like a phone-based thing where you're basically just able to take photographs orbiting around a layout. We can take that as well and bring that into CAD. So it's really, these are totally custom inserts. So it's whatever mix of tooling you have, it doesn't have to be standard sets. That's kind of the niche that we started filling early on, especially for tool control.
Right. What's the weirdest application you've received yet?
Some that are jumping out. We did an optometrist case.
Okay.
It was, when you're getting fit for glasses. So this guy actually went out into the field, like he would go to make house calls, or they'd go to, like senior centers and stuff and do groups. And so he had this big, apparatus that we had to put in foam. And then he wanted to put it in a backpack, like a soft kind of case. So that was a little tricky too, like finding out like, all right, what shape does this have to be? We ended up rounding over the sides. We've done other crazy things. I'm trying to think what else. We've done some instrument cases. We've done some electric guitars and basses. That's kind of a fun application. We end up bringing those to trade shows. I have one guitar case that we made for me too.
Okay. I was going to say
what you can do in the fun aspect. We actually brought that. It's in a Pelican case, which it looks like a rifle case. We brought that to SHOT Show out in Vegas, and I said, "This is probably the only Pelican case in this building that doesn't have a rifle in it." So those are some of the more unique ones. I know we did a tool set for a friend in manufacturing who has an old Model T, and he's got a storage compartment in the Model T that you can open up the floor, and we did 3 removable inserts where you could put all the tooling in case the car broke down.
That's
That was
awesome.
kind of a fun one too.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So how did this conversation go with you and your dad? I would assume you were working another job. Were you working for yourself at that time, or were you working for someone?
At that point when we started it, I was freelancing web and multimedia, doing videos and websites at the time. Yeah.
Yep. And so
like go ahead.
Oh no, it sounded like I was just making sure you're following up on that question. So so the conversation, he came to you and.
Yeah, like I said, he was retiring from his other business and was just kind of looking to do something else, and had seen this in Europe. Came to me and said, "All right, look, like I know this is what we want to do, but we need to figure out like how to do it, even from the like what kind of machines do you need to cut foam? I mean, some people are water jet cutting foam as well as I think you can even do it like a laser if it's high foam. But the problem with that is it blows right through the bottom. And so we were looking at more of a custom kind of cut solution where if you're milling it like we are, you can control the heights of the pockets. So not everything has to be uniform cut through. And then you're not adhering all the layers together, gluing or using solvents. And so that was definitely one of the things, just like how do we want to make these physically? And then also what kind of technology are we going to use to capture those layouts because a lot of people in the past have just kind of hacked together with taking photos just from a top-down perspective. But what you lose there, even if you can trace it right, is that Z information, the height. You don't know
Hmm.
how tall that object is, and if it has any kind of features, maybe on the side or the bottom that you can't see,
Right.
you're not going to get like a perfect pocket. And so that's kind of where we started exploring the 3D scanning aspect. And like I said, that is something that we use a mix of white light and laser scanners to scan tools up. And at that point, you've got every feature captured perfectly, even though we're kind of, at that point, really looking for the outliers, the outlines, and then again, the heights and stuff. But we can really, really make some tight cases, and also just even for tool control, stuff that fits really well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So in terms of the technology that you're using to do this, you have a couple different methods, right? So someone could ship the parts or the tools to you, and at that
Mm-hmm.
point, it doesn't really matter to them what the technology is. Um, but you also, how would they do it at home or at their own shop without actually shipping you all their tools?
Sure. The two other ways that we do that is we have a scanner that comes in a Pelican case. It's in a kit, and we actually ship that out to your facility.
Okay.
That way, you are able to lay out all your tools in whatever orientation and layout that you want, and you use the scanner yourself. And those are usually for bigger projects. If you're doing like, say, like an entire toolbox, if you're doing multiple workstations, it's kind of like a quantity issue. Although we keep it pretty low in terms of just like it doesn't have to be outfitting the entire shop. That's just
Mhm.
kind of the best application for that. If you're doing more of a kind of a one board at a time, which is something that we were starting to see from customers, they were either like prototyping or they wanted to kind of order piecemeal as they changed things or added new workstations. That's where we came up with Photoscan It, where we ship them out. It's a one-time fee of $50. You get the kit. You're able to lay the mat out with these four scanning targets, and then you're just using your own phone. And that
Okay.
way you can do like one layout at a time. You don't have to have the scanner rental. And like I said, you own that kit, so you're able to hold on to that and keep ordering boards, as time goes by. So
So did
just
you develop that? Like, did you develop the application?
we're our method that we're doing, we came up with. We're using some existing technology that's out there in like the
Okay.
sort of photo to CAD
Yep.
space, or photo to mesh, I guess you'd say.
Yep.
Um, versus just completely starting from scratch. Yeah, but
Right.
it's a proprietary method that we figured out. So I mean, it is something that we're doing that our competition's not doing.
Yeah,
Everyone's
that's
got their
very
own ways to do it. Like I said, there's so many ways you can capture this
right.
information, but that's what's just working really well for us right now.
No, it makes sense. I mean, because that's, in terms of competing, that would be one of the biggest things is how easily can someone get these inserts made, which that would mean not shipping your stuff
But
to the location and being without your tools for a week or whatever that takes.
absolutely, yeah. A lot of customers are like, I can't have this not be in my facility. I can't have machines down, with tooling that's on the road. And so again,
Right.
that's why we came up with these couple different applications of how to get the tooling profiles so that it's less downtime for our
That makes
customers.
sense. Yeah, and I would imagine, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I would imagine if it was an entire facility, like, whatever, a couple $100,000 in a square foot machine shop with a couple hundred machines, maybe you guys would just go there and do all the scanning for them. Obviously it's going to cost some money to do that,
Yeah.
but if it's that
We
scale.
also do offer that as a service too, as a turnkey.
Okay.
We'll come out to your facility, and we have done that a number of times. Both myself and one of my other technicians have
Okay.
gone to facilities. We've gone to some aerospace shops and
Yep. And it's
some
probably,
really impressive facilities like that. Where again, like you said, they have so much machines. It's like they don't even want to. We always say too, like you guys are cutting metal. Let us cut the foam. Like
yeah.
even with the scanning, like we'll come out and do it, and that way it can be a turnkey, quick process. So it's kind of
Yep.
again, we're trying to meet people where their needs are at and kind of the level they're at. So
Yep. Yeah, and I would imagine if you can go on location too, it's a good upsell opportunity because you
absolutely.
probably can think of more applications for the shadow foam in their shop than they can.
Yeah, and that's something, once we're at the shop, we're always like, all right, you got me all day. Like, what else do you want to scan? Getting pulled into different departments. People see what you're doing. They're like, hey, can you come? Can we get them at our workstation, or can we get it in the QC area too? It's like, yeah. So
Yeah.
we've done lots of projects like that where it kind of grows in scale, just when people see the applications for it, and then where it can fit into their shop. And the
Yeah.
cool thing about this product is, I mean, it's got so many applications. Like, obviously we're talking about tool control, but I mean, you could put it in your kitchen. You could have your knives and stuff in there and all your silverware. I mean,
Yeah.
any kind of organization. Kitting, we've done a lot of that with manufacturers where they're putting stuff together on the shop floor, and they want to have all the parts in the right place. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, really, it's kind of once you see it, your wheels start turning. It's like, where else can this be applied?
Yeah, yeah, and if you're just listening to this, we're gonna be embedding some photos of the shadow foam and use cases inside of this, but then we'll also give some links to the website and places where you can see it yourself. So, what's been, I guess, it's a huge switch for you personally to move from the industry that you're in into the manufacturing. To you, what was the most unexpected or surprising difficulty in that?
That's a good question. I guess for me, it was, when we started the whole journey, it was like I needed to learn a lot of new technologies like 3D
Right.
scanning, um, CAD CAM. I'd done a little bit. I'd worked with SketchUp before to draw some models for like building furniture, but this was totally different. And then even just like running the CNC machine, we have a couple of 3-axis routers that, again, I'd been around the machine tool world. I knew what was what. I knew what a ER32 collet was, but I'd never changed tools out into it, and things like that, tool holders, all that stuff that I had seen in the marketing world, and building the website and stuff for the last company that I worked at. But yeah, just to actually get out there and get into the shop and start putting pen to paper, that
Mm-hmm.
was a lot. But it's I'm a millennial. I feel like we're always kind of been thrust into new technology like that,
Flexible.
new apps, and it's you got YouTube. You can learn you can learn anything on
Yep.
YouTube.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of woodworking in the last 15 years, and that's something else where I kind of taught myself and learned on YouTube. So that was kind of a pivot too. This was like, oh, a CNC is basically a router on
Mm-hmm.
3-axis,
Yeah.
being numerically controlled. It's like, okay, I know how that works. So,
Yep.
kind of taking building on past experience, I guess you can say.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so it's one thing to have an idea, which your dad had some experience in the space. Did he have contacts that you guys were able to monetize this business pretty quickly, or was this just like a go out and beat on doors and sell it?
I mean, again, we've kind of all the three founders of the company. We knew this manufacturing space, right? We had all either been in and out of these shops previously, or like I said, we'd been to trade shows. It's like we kind of knew where to start. Like, so that was kind of good, drawing on some previous contacts and just being able to be like, hey, we're doing this new thing. Do you see an opportunity for this? And we had a lot of people that were very like eager to try that out. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the greatest thing has been that any shop that we've worked with, from small prototyping stuff or like little cases, it always just grows. It's the repeat business is through the roof, and
Yep.
that's always awesome to see. And when people get the product into their hands and get it into the shop, they're like, "This is awesome!" Like I said, I want to put this everywhere now. Or like,
Right.
wow, this case worked out so well. I have 20 other applications, and so just that stuff slow rolls out, but it's been great. So it's yeah, very fortunate to have manufacturing is an awesome community. Uh, we're part of a couple organizations like TMA and NTMA, and that's again where we've met a lot of these companies that we work with, and it's just it's a cool tight knit community. You make these contacts, and people are like, "Hey, looking forward to working with you. Let's see what we can do together." And we're just trying to make the your shop more organized, protect all the stuff, and people are eager to do that, and there's a need for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge need for it. So what are people doing currently? Well, are there other products like this that they're using that aren't quite as good?
Sure.
What else can you do?
Yeah, I mean, another thing that you can see, this is what we end up replacing a lot, is the hand cut like Kaizen foam. There's another brand out there where you just trace it with I guess like a silver Sharpie on the top. You cut it with an X-Acto knife blade, and then
Yeah.
you're able to peel it out. But
Okay.
it always looks very DIY and very junky. And
Yep.
imagine you're doing one drawer. That's probably going to take you in, I don't know, half
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
Now you're going to do a full tool cart like that, 10 drawers. And then they say, hey, we have 9 other identical workstations. Like that's going to take up a couple of weeks of somebody's time.
Yeah.
If not
Absolutely.
more, right? And now you have an employee that's just literally sitting there hand cutting. Even if it's an intern, like I think the intern could probably be learning something else, right, than just
Yeah.
hand cutting.
Yeah.
So that's something we replace a lot. And then also even in the case space, a couple of the case manufacturers have that pick and pluck foam,
Mm-hmm.
and it works, but it's open cell, so it's
Yep.
going to break down over time because if if it starts getting oil or coolant and stuff on it,
Yep.
as well as it just flakes. It just flakes and breaks, and it's not going to be resistant enough for especially like heavy tooling coming in and out of there. You're going to see
Mm-hmm.
that break down,
Right.
and that's what we do a lot of. We'll see a lot of cases come in their old beat up existing foam, and then we send them back out completely redesigned, maybe even more ergonomically designed, and
Yep.
then with the foam that we use, which is just a huge upgrade.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what's the function of the shadow aspect of it? The multicolor foam.
Yeah. So the two color, like you said, is great for fog control. It's a really quick, easy way to see if you are missing a tool. If you look in the pocket, that's kind of the first and foremost. As far as color goes, we always joke like, "Oh, is this a red company or a blue company?" Like people, have their custom colors. Like we just worked with not as much yellow, but there's some yellow companies out there too. So right now, those are our 3 standard colors: blue, red, and yellow. And then we
Yep.
can also do solid charcoal. So
Yep.
really, it's for that quick identification if something's missing. It's pretty striking to see the color on the black.
Yep.
Yeah, it also just looks really nice too. Looks good in cases and just in all other applications.
Yeah. I would joke about it because we build websites for manufacturers, and it's like, oh, another black and blue one. my,
Yeah,
my
you know
designer's
that
like,
world.
man, all of our portfolio looks exactly the same.
Yep.
But yeah, if you can do black, if you can do red, blue, yeah, and orange, yellow, yeah, those two. I mean, that's pretty much 95% of all manufacturers out there.
Right. Yeah, we're really looking at trying to expand for green and orange. I think those would be awesome colors to have.
Yeah,
Um, but just our current supplier just is focusing on those other 3 colors. So
gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
Um, Now, how do you source? I don't know if you want to. Do you source the foam domestically, or is it international? Or
There's a fabricator that we're getting the material from it's in Indiana, or sorry, yeah, Indiana.
okay,
And there's 2 other companies that we work with domestically too that we can source it from as well.
gotcha. I was curious. I don't know. This doesn't really have any relevance. How do they bond the two colors together?
Yeah, it's actually heat laminated together versus being glued or taped, which is great because also, as we're using these inserts for, all kinds of metal contact, people are always asking about rusting because they're
Right.
worried about or even just the contamination from like glues and solvents, especially with
Right.
sensitive components. Because this is heat laminated, you're not introducing any other chemicals into the equation. So
Interesting.
it's even safe for clean
Yep.
room and for medical applications. We've done a lot of that as well, and we even source like an ST30 foam, which is like a static control. So we can also be doing stuff like that too in electrical component spaces.
So Nick, tell me about the background that you had in marketing and kind of how have you leveraged some of those skill sets that you learned over the years working for other companies now for your own?
Well, like I said, when we started the company, it's a still pretty small team, but it was kind of like, hey, we've got to do a little bit of everything ourselves. So we are still really the primary force between all our marketing and promotion and stuff, from product photography to website building and design. Like I did all that myself. And then just leveraging social media. We're trying to build a presence on LinkedIn as well as like Instagram, Facebook. Not as much that last one, but just trying to get the name out there and kind of share some of the projects that we're doing for inspiration to other shops to kind of see what they could do as well in the shadow foam space.
Yeah. What's been the most successful technique for you so far?
I think, like I said, we do a lot on LinkedIn, just kind of sharing application examples. That usually drives a lot of traffic, just as well as marketing. Some of the services we're offering. Like we started doing for a standard item, collet storage, which is something we just saw like in every shop, and something that's really kind of easier to produce. And it's it's really just getting those couple dimensions, right? The height of the collet and the diameter, as well as like the drawer insert size. So I know every time we post about that, it usually drives traffic to the website and nets some orders. So that's one thing. I really do want to expand more in the video space. That's kind of something I have a passion and a background with, but it's about time in the day, right? Like just getting it done. I think that's a lot with social media, right? Is like just allocating time to try to grow that, which is really important and something we're trying to prioritize, especially going into the next year.
Yeah. Yeah. Any application where you can visually show your product, which I mean, I think is really not unique to you, but a primary issue for you is actually showing it, getting people to visualize what they could use it for. And you
Sure.
said that you guys have had a lot of success at trade shows, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a place that we generate a lot of leads from. We've done IMTS 2 times now. We've done FabTech this previous year, and I think we've been to East Tech twice. And yeah, it always nets a lot of leads, and the follow ups. Sometimes takes a year or so, but
Wow.
people, the seed is planted, and yeah, people like when they can actually see it. I think that's one of those other things too. We talked about visuals. Like when you see, when I'm explaining to someone, hey, what do you do? I'm like, I make shadow foam inserts. They're like, what is that? I'm like, this. And they're like, oh wow. And then, like I said, the wheels start turning. They're like, that's awesome. I can think of 100 places in my life for that. It's like, yeah, so it's a very visual product, and I think once people see like how it's used, they get really really excited about it. So actually being able to touch it too to trade shows, I think is important to see how dense the foam is, to actually see like close up. Oh, there's like when I say open or closed cell, you can't see other foam. You see like the air pockets, right? The little
Yep.
holes, and this is like completely closed where it's so dense that people are just always surprised, like, wow, this is, you can cut this. It's like, yes you can, not with like an X-Acto knife, but definitely on a router.
Yeah. 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 And you said well, you get like what, like 60 to 100? I feel like you said 60 leads.
It depends on the show. I mean, like, I think at FabTech this fall we did over 200. And then
Oh, wow.
how
Okay.
many business cards went out too. That's the other thing. Sometimes people just come by the booth and just grab a business card and go. Like, I
Yeah.
like this. I'm looking you up. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
far as like leads that we took with the lead taking app, I think we were over 200.
Gotcha. And then what's your process after the fact? How do you turn them into customers?
We'll do trade show follow up. So after the show, we'll do some marketing email blasts. Then we also, as we're taking these leads at the show, we're usually entering notes about what the applications were. If people
Okay.
had specific projects that they're thinking about. So we try to follow up with all of them, with a real sort of a customized follow up,
Yep.
per application. And then also sending out samples to the people that requested those. And like I said, I think once people get the product in their hands, they're usually pretty impressed by it, and that's kind of just a driving factor. Is like, oh, I see what this actually is and where I could use it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the customized follow-up is so important. Do you use any AI tools to do that? Like I would imagine you could kind of plug up the entire list and whatever descriptions you have and, have an AI model customize a
Yeah,
message.
I have. I think. Last IMTS, I did start using Chat GPT for that. Just
Mhm.
a little email formatting, just to kind of take that list, like you said, just grab some of the pertinent information, name, subject, and even like the application field, and then at that point you're customizing all of them, but just kind of just as a starting point. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that there's some use for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
A
Well,
little
I mean,
less
I think
typing,
what's that?
a little less copy paste and typing.
Right, exactly. Oh, it's a huge process. I mean, I did the same thing after the show, and I did not take as good of notes as I should have because there was a lot of people that, you assume that you're going to remember what you talked about, but you just can't.
Right.
There's too many conversations.
It's hard too. You'll be entering, you're standing there. There's two people in our booth, and one of them's on their phone, like either typing or talking to the phone. It looks like you're not paying attention to the new people that are coming in to talk, and you're like, I just got to put this note in real quick, or I'm going to forget. So yeah,
Exactly.
that can be a little tricky, but
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So the trade shows, if you're doing one or two a year, that's manageable. It seems like if you're doing four, five, six, I start to question like if there's a more efficient way to be getting leads, you know, um,
sure,
especially if you have a booth there. I don't know what you invested in, but I mean, I think the range there was from $6,000 to probably hundreds of thousands of dollars for some
for
of the
sure.
bigger players.
Yeah,
Um, and then you also got to calculate time lost, right? You've got a lot of other stuff you could be doing, especially when you're a small company, you wear a lot of hats. I
for sure.
always just wonder, like, I think a lot of people default to trade shows. And I mean, I can't say anything negative about them. I mean, I thought it was a very positive experience, but I always wonder if people over allocate marketing budget to trade shows when you could be leveraging the internet to get those people. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's having a good mix. I mean, there are so many shows that I think we could be going to. There's a couple that we've looked at for the future or even done in the past. Like I mentioned, we did SHOT Show in Vegas. We've done PRI, which is a racing industry show down in
Okay.
Indianapolis. And while those were interesting and it was cool to try to get out into a different customer base, they just didn't seem to net as many leads.
Hmm.
Um, so it's kind of hit or miss sometimes. I think it just depends. Um, it depends who your customers are and where your customers are at. I know for us, IMTS has been a good lead generation, as well as East Tech. There's just a lot of companies that attend those shows for us that just seem to be interested in what we do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean that's kind of just one of those things. I think it depends on your exact market and who you're looking to reach.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, what are you kind of seeing down, the next 5 years here? I mean, you guys have obviously not been in business for that long, but you've done a lot in that short amount of time. Like, what are you hoping to see in terms of like your facility, your team, your sales, maybe 5 years down the road?
Yeah. Well, we actually purchased a building where we've been renting for the last 5 years, so we're going to be moving at some point here in the next year.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just growing the business, adding more machines, adding more employees, and just kind of upping our capabilities as far as just serving the customer and growth. And we've really seen a lot of growth in the last 3 to 6 months, almost exponentially. Just you get a couple good customers that start coming back over and over and in high volume, and suddenly you're running second shifts, weekends. I was there this
That's
weekend
exciting.
with one of my other guys running parts. Like, it's just got to do what you got to do to get it done. But we're having fun, and we're making parts, and it's growing. So
Yeah. No, that's very exciting. Very cool. I bet your dad's super excited too.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, I think you have an awesome story. Great company, great product that's solving problems for a lot of people. So really appreciate you sharing with us today, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Nate, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.